So I'm with Qasim Rashid, another Muslim American. He's terrifying. Look at that brownness and that beard, and look at that scary name, Qasim Rashid. Is it as scary as Abdul Rahman Muhammad Al-Sayed? Probably not, because
No,
Al-Sayed has a
zero
lot more
syllables.
syllables.
Yep.
But I know you all are like, "Oh, I'm not a communist. I'm not a Muslim. Why should I care about this particular conversation with Qasim and Wajahat when they're talking about will Americans fall for the Islamophobia and communist boogeyman?" Because this is going to be the attack against Abdul El-Sayed. This will be the attack against Francesca Hong. This will be the attack against Mamdani. And by extension, this will be the attack against the majority and Democrats and liberals who oppose MAGA. This is what they're doing. They're going all in. I'm not making it up. Communist, communist, communist. And that you've heard it all last week. And now that Abdul Sayed, who has won, and I'm going to talk to Qasim about the win because it's huge. I haven't talked to Qasim yet. Good to talk to another Muslim American commentator about this. Um, now that Abdul Sayed has won just the primary, folks, he hasn't even been elected, but one Muslim American primary candidate, it is one Muslim American too many for not just Republicans, Qasim, let's be honest, but for many Democratic centrists and
hmm
pro-Israel first Zionists.
Look, I've been thinking about this, and I'm speaking to Abdul tomorrow, by the way. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can see that interview. We're going to talk about all the things. I've been thinking about this with Jahat, and we were sold. The public was sold on the idea that Mamdani was an aberration, that it's a deep blue seed. Of course, you're going to get this, hyper left candidate who's got this unrealistic stuff. People were sold on it. That's what the conventional wisdom was. Even after he won. First, they said he couldn't win, then he won, and they're like, "Well, this is why. This is these hyper leftist, liberal, woke people. That's what's going to happen. Watch when crime skyrockets. Crime is at historic lows. Watch when the budget is in array. He found $12 billion and balanced the budget. Watch as the social service programs run out of money. He's expanding new social service programs every single day. Watch as billionaires flee. He's taxing them, and they're sticking around. So then they said, well, it's just New York City. It can't happen anywhere else. And then Chris Rabb won in Philadelphia. And they said, well, Philadelphia, same thing, basically. It's okay. And then Malak Kiros wins in Denver, Colorado. And then they're like, okay, fine. Yeah, but that's just another one example. And then, Zoran goes 8 for 8, and all of his candidates win in amazing fashion. And then they start to go just double down and triple down on the Islamophobia. And now with Abdul El-Sayed, something new has happened because Abdul Al-Sayed wasn't supposed to be anywhere near this seat. He's in a state that Trump won twice. He's in a state that's purple. He's in a state that traumatized the entire nation when Hillary lost in 2016 because we thought it was a sure bet blue, and we realized we don't know what the hell we were talking about as Democrats. And he came in, and still they said, you know what? In 24, Hill Harper was the staunch progressive, ran against Alyssa Slotkin, and Alyssa Slotkin just throttled him. It was like 78-22. That's what's going to happen this time. And by the way, for good measure, we're going to spend $62 million as APAC just to remind you to know your place, to sit down and shut up and only speak when spoken to.
63.
63 million, sorry. And Abdul said bet. And he got outspent 11-1. He ran unapologetically. He condemned the genocide in Gaza, condemned Netanyahu, condemned Israel's aggressions in Iran and Lebanon, and said, you know what? I'm also going to condemn Egypt. I don't want to send money to Egypt either. So, no, this is not a gotcha. We should be spending no foreign money over there. Let's invest it here at home with universal health care. And by the way, Chuck Schumer, get the hell out of my way. I'm going to support Chris Van Hollen as a new Senate Majority Leader. And after doing all that, he won. And so now the centrist establishment are like, holy crap, we don't know what we were talking about. And he's just proved it. And Republicans are like, holy crap, this guy got a record amount of voters to come out and vote for him on what we have demonized as a far left woke agenda, but people actually wanted. So now they're doing the only thing that they know how to do. And let's go back to the bigotry 101,
Yep.
demonize him, condemn him, go after every single possible excuse they can to avoid talking about the actual issues. And I think Abdul's path to victory is very clear. Don't buy into the culture wars. Stay laser focused on the three things he's been talking about: Medicare for all, money out of politics, money in your pocket.
Yeah, and I want to show you examples. I'm going to use this little toy that I now have. I'm going to scroll. Uh, Look at this. This is the NRSC debuts its first attack ad.
Yep.
Look at that. See that? All
Yeah,
right.
I love it.
Okay. Now look at this. Republican Party has a new enemy in Michigan. They really want you to know his name. Abdul Rahman Muhammad Al-Sayed.
I love it.
The same thing they did, and the same thing they literally, like Donald Trump recently did with Barack, wait for it, Hussein Obama. Now,
Yep.
this is Mike Rogers yesterday. This is, I spent my life hunting terrorists. I never in a million years thought I'd hear the words America deserved 9/11, but here we are. Michigan, we've got a state to save. Bro, the year is 2026. Why are you playing clips from 2001? Oh, yes, because you're equating Osama bin Laden and 9/11 with Abdul El-Sayed, with Hassan
Mhm.
Piker. Who else did that? Oh, yes, Democrats did that, supporting Andrew Cuomo when they did the same smear campaign against Mamdani.
Right.
Who else did that? Oh, yeah, Tommy Tuberville, when he had a photo of the burning towers next to Mamdani during Ramadan, and he said the enemy, the barbarians are in the gate, right?
Yep.
Randy Fine, by the way, another Republican who compared Muslims to dogs and said that he prefers dogs. Andy Ogles, who said that Muslims don't believe in belong in America. All of those Republicans, by the way, are still in good standing.
Yep.
None of them have been censured. But you kind of expect that, right? You kind of expect that Islamophobia from the Republicans, even though it should not be excused. But Qasim, let's be honest here and let's be
Yeah.
blunt. It ain't just Republicans.
No, it's not, and this is the part that I think people need to grapple with. I'll point out a couple of things. I'm supporting Angie Nixon, whose primary is coming up in Florida on the 18th of this month. So if you're in Florida, vote for Angie Nixon for Senate. Her opponent, Alexander Vindman, is refusing to debate with her, refusing to have any kind of conversation, is trying to ride his celebrity into policy. And this is a man who is on record saying that he hates Muslims because they have this inherent trained hatred of Jewish people. No evidence for this claim. He just flat out says that this is who Muslims are.
Yep.
Reverse the role. For anyone who thinks that that's okay, imagine if somebody said that they hate Jewish people because Jews have an inherent trained hatred of Muslims or Christians or black people or gays. You would condemn that rightfully. But here, this guy is a front runner. And, I was really disappointed because I like people like Congressman Jamie Raskin a lot. I was disappointed to see even like Rep. Jamie Raskin endorse him. I'm shocked at that actually because I really admire Rep. Raskin. I'm going to reach out to his office and ask him, what in the world are you doing here? But that's the point, that something so grotesque about Muslims can be said by a Democrat frontrunner, and it's just assumed and celebrated. Right now, Hillary Scholten is on CNN talking to Jake Tapper,
Is
claiming
it
that she
Scholten
can't.
or Skolten? How do you pronounce? I don't care. I don't give a shit either way.
I'm not sure.
All
I
right, I don't
It's
give a shit.
whatever she
F
wants. I'm happy with.
F her, and I'll tell you why I'm about. Well, Qasim will tell you why I say F her. Go ahead, Qasim.
She's going on to say that she will not support Dr. Abdul El-Sayed because of Hassan Piker's comments on 9/11, and that to me is just another example of the hypocrisy among corporate Democrats. Because look, I don't need to endorse Hassan Piker's comments. I don't care. In
Yeah.
fact, at all, I wouldn't say that. But what I will say is that if you can look past Andrew Cuomo, if you can look past Bill Clinton and their perpetual sexual abuse, I mean, if you ever get a chance to read the report that the New York Attorney General James put together about Cuomo and the women that he sexually abused and the level of sexual abuse that he committed, then go back and look at the people who endorsed Cuomo
That's
over
right.
Mamdani and tell me that they have a
I'll
moral
tell you
leg
who did.
to stand on.
Bill Clinton did. James Clyburn did.
Right?
Lawrence Summers did, who, by the way, was in the Epstein files. Bloomberg did.
Yep.
Third Way did. I'll tell you who didn't come out and embrace Mamdani, still hasn't, and also casually used this terrorist language or jihadi language. Kristen Gillibrand. Uh, you know, I tell you who
That's right.
said that he has to apologize for a pro-Palestinian chants that he never used. Hakeem Jeffries did the week of
Right.
the election. They Kristen Gillibrand was more comfortable taking a photo with Ted Cruz after the New York Knicks one
That's right.
than she is associating with Mamdani, because I don't think
Disgusting.
she's taken a photo with Mamdani yet, has she?
No, not that I know of, and she wouldn't even issue a public apology when she was told 3, 4, or 5 times that he never said this. With this jihadist claim you're putting on him, you literally fabricated it, and she still condemned him. And then, yeah, I was actually pretty pissed about her, being all chummy with Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was on whatever Fox News this week talking about how Al Sayed's a communist and Mamdani's an Islamist and they're terrorists and they hate America and they want to kill Jews. Just absolute vile nonsense that has no rhyme or reason. And I guess this is what I'm begging folks to understand is that these things have consequences.
That's right.
There's a popular meme on the left that I'm seeing a lot of liberal and progressive white friends share, and which says that, have you ever noticed how Trumpers never had a problem with Dr. Oz being a Muslim, but they have a problem with Al-Sayed and Mamdani being a Muslim? It's almost like religion has nothing to do with it. And I'm like, no, you morons. It has everything to do with it because Dr. Oz is not practicing by any capacity. And the fact that Al-Sayed and Mamdani are very proud of the fact that they are Muslims and are practicing and observant, that's
And
what
not
pisses them off.
Republican. And
And
not
not
Republican.
Republican, that's what pisses them off. And I need people to understand that this is a form of anti-Muslim bigotry when you're trying to whitewash the anti-Muslim bigotry that people are facing. And this is coming from the left. We need to do better. And so as you see these attacks come out, against Al Sayed, the best thing you can do is to recognize that these culture wars are being waged for one reason alone, is to make you forget about the fact that gas is $5, $6 a gallon. Is to make you forget about the fact that housing is unaffordable. Is to make you forget about the fact that you can't breathe the air right now because of the wildfires caused by climate change. Is to make you forget about the fact that this government bombed a school in Iran and killed 165 schoolgirls. Is to make you forget about the fact that APAC is spending tens of millions of dollars to elect people to the U.S. government so that they can send billions of dollars to Israel and not to fix the infrastructure that's broken and crumbling, not to get us the healthcare that we need, not to get us the public schools. Don't buy into the culture wars. Invest in your children because I don't care what political party you belong to. Every child out there, whether they're from a staunch MAGA family or staunch liberal family, every child deserves that human dignity. That's what we got to be focused on.
Yeah, and this is exactly it. They're distracting because Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Donald Trump has led us in this failed illegal war in Iran because gas prices are unaffordable, grocery prices are
Yeah.
unaffordable. Rich are getting richer. Everyone's getting poorer. 60% of Americans say that they're having trouble making ends meet. He's wasted millions of dollars on his stupid bunker, millions of dollars on the
Yeah.
reflecting pool. All right, made billions of dollars off of crypto. And people are like, how is this helping us? And it hasn't. It won't. But instead of actually, I don't know, attacking Donald, this is top of my head. Instead of, I don't
Yeah.
know, attacking Republicans and Donald Trump on all of this, on the fact that Max Miller apparently is a psychopath beating his wife and his kid and is still got the backing of Mike Johnson. Where the F is Mitch McConnell? Apparently, he came out and gave a statement that he's healing. I haven't seen proof of life.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know, come out and talk about Donald Trump. This all top of my head, folks. Donald Trump's a former bank saying we had to shut down the accounts because of fear of money laundering. Instead of focusing on any of that, they Third Way has now put in $15 million to do war. Their words, war against the ascendant left. And you have Hillary Scholten saying all this stuff now. And then I have to ask you this because I've talked about you with it privately, but let's just make it public because
Sure.
he's gone public. What happened to Fred Gutenberg and Cliff Schecter?
I don't know, actually. I haven't talked to Cliff yet, so I'm waiting to hear from him. I don't actually know, but with Gutenberg, from what I understand from people who know him, he's actually uh, been like this for a long time, and now it's just becoming more and more public. I won't say anything critical of Cliff because I've only had positive interactions with him, and he hasn't said anything to me negative, and so I still consider him a friend and a genuine person until I hear otherwise.
Good
So
luck.
Cliff, if you're
You're
watching
about
this,
to find out.
yeah, if you're watching this clip and you want to have a chat, I'm here. I haven't, seen or heard anything negative from you directly at me. So for me, I want to keep that conversation and friendship alive. But I've never known Gutenberg. All I've seen from him is this wild um, uh, refusal to acknowledge that there's a genocide in Gaza, a refusal to acknowledge that whether children are being killed due to NRA lobbying here or due to APEC lobbying for bombs in Gaza, it's the same kind of evil lobbying that we need to condemn and reject. I thought David Hogg made an extraordinarily astute analysis that whether it's the NRA or the APAC, they're both resulting in policies that are mass killing children, and it's indefensible and inexcusable. So I, I don't actually worry about people like Gutenberg, people who are unable to have empathy for other people's children is wild to me. He suffered a horrific loss with the horrific murder of his daughter. Never should have happened, and my heart bleeds for him because that's a pain that no parent should ever have to experience. I'm reminded of the words of James Baldwin, where he says, "The children are ours, all of them, all over the globe." And I'm beginning to think that whosoever cannot understand that is incapable of morality. I,
Because it leans into the Israel first, You criticize Israel, you're an anti-Semite. Within the next same breath, all of a sudden it goes to Hamas, then it goes to October 7th. You saw what Mike Rogers is doing. Folks, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
This is like this is this blanket smear, and I don't want to get you into a fight with Cliff, not at all. But I mean, he said personal things about me for no reason. We won't get into that. But I'll give you an example. The same type of the progressive on everything except Israel, part of the Democratic moderates and centrists. And let's be honest, folks, when you look at the ideology and the funding of a lot of the centrists and moderates of the Democrats, there's pretty much two issues that unite them. Never criticize Israel,
Hmm.
don't criticize billionaires. Let's be blunt about it, Qasim. That seems to be like maybe it's not a complete overlapping Venn diagram, but it's pretty damn close. But this response, this was from today. Our mutual friend Matt Duss says, unsurprisingly, it looks like Mike Rogers will be leaning into the bigoted, anti Muslim smears. And
Yeah.
unsurprisingly, Josh, who's part of New York, I think Newsweek, will be amplifying them. All right. Matt
Hmm.
Duss, former foreign policy advisor to Bernie
Yeah.
Sanders, has been on the show. This is Cliff. Also, unsurprisingly, the same people who gleefully shared every anti Semitic smear by El-Sayed, his online fluffers, now incessantly whine everything's Islamophobic. All of us who were allies, interesting, and asked you to stop trafficking in that bullshit because it endangers our families, whom you ignored or flat out mocked for it, won't be there to defend you. At least Republicans are known for being circumspect, and AES didn't provide a metric shit ton of ammo by choosing to be conjoined twin with Hassan Piker on the trail and funded by AES's shady uh, FIL. Good luck with that.
Father-in-law. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I gotta say, I mean, the ADL, the Anti Defamation League, of whom I'm not a fan because I think Greenblatt is not a good person, has
No, not at all.
documented they have documented the anti-Semitic attacks over the last 25 years. And I think we've talked about this before with Jihad, but they document like 41,088 um, acts of anti-Semitism over the last 25 years. Of those 41,088, do you know how many are documented to be attributed to people on the left or to Muslims?
I don't tell him.
The number is 3, not 3%, but 3 total. This is what the ADL has documented over the last 25 years, that 1 unhinged Muslim committed an act of anti-Semitism and 2 leftists committed an act of anti-Semitism. The other 41,085 are by white supremacists, conservatives, MAGAs, Republicans, people on the right of the spectrum. And so for me, if even their own data is clear that when they look for acts of anti-Semitism, it's essentially 100% from the right, the idea that suddenly we're being blamed on the left when we've been at the forefront of combating anti-Semitism is just, it's wild to me. And this is why I say we can't get into the culture wars. I want every child to be safe. I thought Abdul El-Sayed in his press conference the next day said something really thoughtful about how he views the Jewish community, where he said that I view the safety and security of the Jewish
Yeah, it was
community
very good.
the same way I view the safety and security of my own daughters. And you know, that's actually, and you know this, Wajahat, but that's actually an Islamic principle
Yeah.
that Muslims are called, that justice should be our lowest standard of good. That's the bare minimum. That's the floor. We don't get happy that we've achieved justice. No, we need to go beyond that to kindness and kinship. That our highest level that we're called to aspire to is to treat every person on earth as we would our own flesh and blood, our own children, our own parents, our own siblings. And so, you know, I like I said, I haven't talked to Cliff, so maybe I'll talk to him offline and figure something out. But what I will say is that there has to be a conversation around how we coalition build, especially when the person who wins is a progressive and not a centrist. We've been asked repeatedly as people further left and centrist to say, hey, look, vote blue no matter who.
It's always one
Yeah,
way.
you know,
It's always one way.
and we saw this happen in the 2024 election. You know, Kamala Harris, a lot of people on the left were critical of her about her and Biden's policy on Palestine. What did Abdul El-Sayed do? July 22nd, the day after Biden drops out, puts out a statement saying, we need to get behind Kamala Harris. We need to make sure she wins. I was in Georgia and Michigan in the final weeks knocking doors for Kamala Harris. I was on, I don't know how many fundraisers to raise money for her and to put out content saying we need to get her elected. I did that not because I agreed with every policy of hers, but because I saw her as a far better candidate than the existential threat that is Donald Trump. Now with Abdul Al Sayed, I get you're not going to have complete agreement. No one's asking you to. What we are asking you to do is to take your own advice and vote blue no matter who and support him because MAGA Mike Rogers is going to be far worse. We have a living, breathing example of it.
They're not gonna do it, and I'll give you the example of
That's the thing.
Hillary Scholten, and they're not gonna do it because of Israel, and they're instead gonna burn it all down. They would much rather burn it all down and cede power to remain in control, to get
Yeah,
the checks from corporate America, to protect Israel, to have power, relevance, and access to this dying democratic machine. I guarantee it, folks.
yeah,
If you don't believe me, look at the $63 million spent against Abdul El-Sayed. If you don't believe me, look at the attacks. Uh, Against Hassan Piker as a proxy to attack Abdul
yep,
El-Sayed. Valerie McMurrow
that's right.
shamefully started it, which is what sunk her career, political career, when it comes to at least trying to become senator in Michigan.
Yeah,
But then she came around and very smartly backed Abdul Sayed. Haley Stevens today shared the stage with Abdul Sayed. They hugged, excellent. But
yep,
recall, Mallory McMorrow somehow uh, equated Hassan Piker and Abdul Sayed with the attack on the
yeah,
synagogue.
that's right.
That happened, folks.
Yeah,
So this is not a vacuum. This is brown man, Muslim man. Doesn't matter if he's religious, brownish, Muslimish, pro-Palestinian, terrorist. You all see it? Brownish, Muslimish, anti-Semite, terrorist. 9/11, Hamas, Al Qaeda,
on repetition. Yeah, on repeat.
which is exactly what Mike Rogers is doing. And today, folks, I mean, this is kind of funny. I have to laugh about this. Have you seen this? The Daily Caller movie starring Jonathan Majors? I have to show it to
Oh, I heard about this
you.
piece. How the mighty have fallen.
The threat of radical Islam is real. Hollywood, according to Ben Shapiro, has refused to tell that story for 3 decades.
Really?
Really? Really? Wasn't this movie Citizen Vigilante just promoted by Elon Musk that shows uh the other disgraced
Yeah.
actor literally killing an entire Syrian Muslim family? I digress.
Mhm.
Now we're saying the thing with the biggest, most audacious, funniest, and most kick-ass film Daily Wire has ever released. Here's a trailer. It's about 30 seconds in, but just watch if you can, real quick. That's Jonathan Majors. He's at a foreign threat. Dun dun dun. He's at a college, a woke college. Oh no, a domestic battlefield. I mean, this is hilarious. I
It's like
shouldn't
an
laugh,
SNL skit right
but
here.
it is very funny to me, even though it's so dangerous. Oh no, that's a Muslim. Do you see him? I think he was doing sijda. Oh, look at these terrorists.
Oh,
Look at
no.
look at these brown Muslim guys. They're in a woke college. Oh no,
Isn't
here
this
they
literally the
go.
premise of the Ohio State, tower shooting where, like, anti-government extremists killed? This is wild.
Yeah. And the number one domestic terror threat in America, folks, is white supremacist right-wing terrorism. It's the GOAT. Nothing
Always
comes
has
close.
been. Yep.
The number one identity of male shooters, white men. Serial killers, white men. Violent insurrectionists who attacked the Capitol were MAGA, mostly, not exclusively, white men. The three people who tried to kill Donald Trump that we know of, white men, former Trump supporters. The man who's arrested trying to kill or killing Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, white man. But no, no. This is, I mean, bro,
You know,
like
I'm watching this
this
trailer
came
and
out today. And do you think this is a coincidence?
no, of
Run,
course not. Yeah.
hide, fight.
No, this is comedy. This should be a comedy.
I rarely
This
laugh
is
out
wild.
loud.
The
Run,
the
hide, fight, infidels.
everything they've depicted in here, from what I can tell so far, this is my first blind screening of it.
That
Everything
was
that
my
they've
first blind
depicted,
screening, also. I waited for you.
thank you. Everything that they've depicted, shooting students, human shields, attacking civilians, it's literally what we've seen on video the IDF doing in Gaza and Palestine. I mean, every accusation from these fascists is a projection. I'll also point. I want to go back to a point you made earlier about the not criticizing billionaires and not criticizing Israel. I was talking to Maurice Mitchell about this, who is
Working Families
the
Party.
Working Families Party chair. Brilliant dude. I love this guy to death. And he's like, look, we believe in a big tent party, but not a tent that's so big that the billionaires who are exploiting workers are in the tent with the workers being exploited.
That's right.
And that's the fundamental problem with people like the Chuck Schumers of the world, where they don't understand that you cannot expect to win over working class folks when you're taking money from Palantir and taking money from the billionaires screwing over working class folks. And the criticism being thrown at Abdul El-Sayed for being, anti-Semitic because he condemns Israel genocide is grounded in racism. You know how we know that? Sean Fain, president of UAW,
UAW.
one of the most powerful unions and powerful leaders in the country, under Biden condemned the genocide that's happening
Yep.
and put it at the feet of Biden and Harris. How many people have dared call him anti-Semitic? They won't, because he's a privileged, a well-to-do white man, and they know that it's an empty argument to call somebody anti-Semitic because they condemn genocide. But they know they can't get away with it with Sean Fain, but they're trying it with Abdul El-Sayed,
And to your
and I want
point,
people to see that hypocrisy.
to that hypocrisy, Hassan Piker has supported many candidates. He's
Right.
supported and campaigned with AOC. He's done some events with Summer Lee,
Mhm.
Bernie Sanders. Mallory McMorrow's team waited for the one event that he did with Abdul Sayed.
Yeah,
You notice that?
I
And
did.
now speak
I
about
did.
Hassan Piker. I want your response to this because I mean, I wouldn't say it this way, but that's Hassan being Hassan. I agree with this because now all the people who in bad faith smeared and continue to smear Abdul Sayed and who say vote blue men are who, but they don't mean it. Now they're saying it's up to Abdul Sayed to grovel and like somehow, I don't know, prove that he's moderate to them. And this is what Hassan said.
Yeah.
Um, he said, everyone being like Abdul has of work to do to mending bridges. Here's the effing take nuke for you. You all are unbelievably Islamophobic pieces of shit. You literally call the dude an effing terrorist for months on end, call him a sexist, misogynist, terrorist, bad candidate, fake doctor when he has two effing degrees. And now you're going to sit there and be like, you really got to come to me now. What are you talking about? Do you want to win or not? Lock the F in. And then he further clarified he wasn't talking, and this was bad faith spun by many of the people that we've mentioned. He's saying this to Michiganders. He's like, no, I'm not. I want him to knock on all the doors and win over Michigander voters. I'm talking about people like you know, like Shannon Watts and others who did this. That's what I'm talking about. But good. He said, lock the F in. How come they're not locking the F in, Qasim?
Because I mean, we've been talking about this the entire time, right? I mean, this is the double standard that we've been talking about the entire time.
But they've
And
been
and
the right wing media and liberal media, whatever that is, it's the same
yeah,
shit. It's been talking about Hassan Piker nonstop this week.
yeah, because that's their boogeyman. That's just their new boogeyman. And this is, if there's one thing that the right does effectively, is get their talking points and then stick to them ad infinitum or ad nauseum. And here's the thing: if if it really was about what Hassan Piker said, Bill Maher has said just as offensive things about trans people, about women, about gay people, about
About
Muslims,
9/11, remember
about
how he
nine
got
eleven.
canceled on from
Yeah,
politically correct,
he
incorrect?
talked, yeah, exactly. I mean, he talked about how he had respect for the 9/11 hijackers. I mean, mind-boggling stuff. But you see Alyssa Slotkin, you see, Raphael Warnock, you see staples of the Democratic Party going on a show like it's no big deal at all. You see, Ted Cruz saying grotesque things about Muslims, demonizing Muslims, demonizing Democrats, and you got Kirsten Gillibrand being like all chummy and up, rubbing elbows. People need to understand that it's not Hassan Piker that upsets them. It's the fact that the message of economic justice that Abdul El-Sayed is saying is so effective, it's
Yep.
resonating. They can't attack the message, so they are going to try to delegitimize the messenger and find any way they possibly can to delegitimize him. I would challenge people on the right who are influenced, or even on the left or the center, anybody. I would challenge them. Look for what attacks they make on Abdul El Sayed's policies.
That's right.
Focus on that. Focus on what his policies are. And if you want to know what he thinks about Jewish people, ask him. If you want to know what he thinks about trans people, ask him. But do not let the fact that he said something with somebody else at some point usurp what his actual policies and what his actual work has been, because that is what we need to be focused on.
My I predicted this a couple of months ago. Anyone who's watching the left hook, I can't go back and look at the date. Maybe it was April. I'm forgetting when Mallory McMurrow made that disastrous, disgusting, and I'm going to go ahead and say Islamophobic decision to do it. She knew what she was doing. The corporate consultants who advised her knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
I said on this show, I said out live, I said, watch, this is the end of her campaign. Barbara Streisand effect is going to help Hassan Piker and Abdul Sayed. More
Yeah.
people will listen to Abdul Sayed. More people will listen to Hassan Piker. They've done the exact opposite of what they wanted, which was to elevate these guys. Most people will look at Hassan Piker and they're like, "Oh, I heard all these things." They'll listen to him. He's like, "Okay, he wants to end forever wars. He wants to tax billionaires. He wants you to have Medicare for all. He thinks the system's corrupt. He works out and he talks shit. Cool." Abdul Said is very smart. He's like, all right, yeah, this is what they're attacking me with. This is what I mean by Israel. And fine, I don't want money to go to Egypt. I'm Egyptian. We shouldn't be putting that money in foreign companies and billionaires' pockets. We should be putting it in Michiganders' pockets. They're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
I think this is going to be the Streisand effect. Real quick, a Setzenator said, what is the Barbara Streisand effect? Streisand effect refers to a phenomenon that happened about 24 years ago, where there was like one aerial photo taken of Barbara Streisand at home, and she wanted to suppress it. Nobody had downloaded the photo. Nobody gave a shit. But because she kind of made it into an issue, it became a viral story at that time. And then it led to thousands of people downloading the photo, right? So had she just kept quiet, it would have died. But by making it into a scandal, the Streisand effect meant that it actually achieved the opposite intended effect, that everyone started talking about the aerial photos of her house. Thus, the Streisand effect.
Yeah, and it was pretty fun. I remember that too. I think it just kind of a sidebar to what we're talking about. I think that's one of the first moments I realized the concept of virality on the internet, because this was the early stages of Google Images and Google Earth. Kids these days have no idea that if you wanted to figure out what something looked like back then, you had to physically go there and see what it looks like. Now you can just type
If
into
you
Google.
wanted to rent
Yeah,
a movie, you had to go to Blockbuster, and then you had to wait, and then if the movie was on the shelf, you would be like a freaking crack addict waiting to see each person drop it in, and then you'd be like, "Can you check? Can you check?" Those are good memories, man. I wanna ask you about this last
yeah,
one, because all of this is linked. Radical leftist, terrorist, jihadist, illegals, anti-Semite, right? This is very deliberate from the Trump campaign that has unleashed ICE to
yeah,
kill Americans,
yeah.
that has done National Security Presidential Memo 7 that says all these are indicators of radical left-wing terrorism, that has killed innocent Venezuelan fishermen without any accountability, that kidnapped El Salvadoran people, pro-Palestinian activists, and literally detained them without any charges. Now, check this out, and you all better pay attention, because you might not be a communist or a Muslim or an immigrant. But look at this. You think I'm crazy? This was yesterday.
Yeah.
Communism is the greatest threat to our country. You might think it's this toupee. It's not this toupee. It's communism. It could be. I could be the greatest communist in history. What? Anyway, make it make sense.
You know, this it's a McCarthyism of the 1950s of the big red scare. And again, I keep bringing up Ted Cruz because he's so insufferable. But now the new talking point is this is the red and the green convergence, right? Green meaning Islamic, red meaning communist, and the convergence of the two. I mean, first of all, Islam and communism are two very different things and actually opposed to each other in almost every conceivable way. So they're just making up stuff that doesn't actually make any sense to try to fearmonger people. But again, I think one of the benefits that we have is the benefit of hindsight. We've already seen this playbook. We've already seen this playbook attempted when there was attempts for mass public service. In the post World War II environment, the government began to start to invest heavily in the public, and those who wanted to oppose investment in the public, who wanted to maintain the status quo of wealth and income inequality coming out of the Great Depression, labeled anyone who thought of any kind of a public welfare plan as a communist. And we're seeing the same thing happen right now. And again, what's frightening to these, right wing nut jobs is you have examples like Mayor Mamdani, who promised a ton of things and is delivering on them and more, and is doing it in record time. He has shattered, completely just obliterated the notion that it's hard to get things done in political office because he's gotten so much done and he keeps winning, actually winning, like Trump claimed, "There's gonna be so much winning, you're gonna be tired of winning." Like, he's actually winning
How
and
much
actually
winning?
getting things done. And it's pissing off the people who've been sitting on their hands this entire time because now they have to answer their constituents, "Why can this, freshman, mayor who's, like, what, 35 years old, with dimples accomplish all this with no corporate money, no billionaire backing, and you with all the money and power and wealth and connections in the world can't fill a pothole, Gretchen Whitmer." So this is I think the part that's pissing them off and the part that they don't have an answer to. And so I'm going to keep repeating this over the next 4 months and beyond, especially coming into the November election. You're going to see an unprecedented level of anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-black, anti-minority hate
Anti-woman.
from anti-women, anti-LGBTQ hate. They will find every possible identity to demonize and then accuse Democrats of identity politics
Yep.
while continuing to condemn anyone who's not a straight white male MAGA supporter. Don't fall for it. I'm
Please.
begging you, especially on the right, don't fall for it because you're going to do it to your own detriment. And to the folks on the left, don't let Democratic politicians off the hook just because they have a D next to their name. It doesn't work. It's going to come back and bite you in the ass as well. We need allies right now. We need solidarity right now. This is the time to step up and stand together.
And it didn't work against Mamdani. It didn't work
Nope.
against Daria Liza. It didn't work against Adam Hamawi. It didn't work against Abdul El-Sayed. I
Right.
do think this young generation has a built-in bullshit detector.
Yep.
I think enough people are now inoculated and things are so bad that people are like, you're just trying to distract us from the Epstein files. You're trying to distract us from the war. You're trying to distract us from the fact that you're corrupt as F. You're trying to distract us from this AI data center that you swear. You're trying to distract us from the fact that you promised inflation would go down. I mother effing can't afford my grocery and gas. So, but folks, people can be swayed. And we saw that in Michigan with many voters who saw the blitzkrieg of anti-Abdul Sayed ads by APAC and others. They were swayed. Well, I thought he said this. I thought he said that. Oh, I'm so glad to know he's not like that.
Yep.
So please educate people, be informed, don't fall for the bullshit. Real quick, I got to run. Unlike Qasim, I'm overweight. So I have to run to the gym to lose this 20 pounds that I've gained in the last 5 years. I'm trying. As my hair loses, I'm trying to lose the fat because Qasim is working out, so he's a role model for me. But before I go, the small victories in life, people said, Waj, your voices are getting better. This is all I have. And someone asked me to do the Carvel voice. So that my Carvel impression was like, if it's made between me and Hassan Piker, Qasim Rashid, there's only room for one of us. I'm not going to be a part of the party that has Hassan Piker in the party. It's either me or him. I'm going to leave. To which I say, good night, good afternoon, and good luck, James Carville. Goodbye. Go back to your crypt. Bill Maher, goodbye as well. See y'all. Qasim, final word to you.
You know, we're in a moment where we have more power than we've ever had before. Despite the hate, we have more power as a community because we have elected more working class people to office than at any point in modern American history. The Summer Lees of the world, the Ayanna
Yeah.
Presleys, the AOCs, Ilhan Omars, Rashida Tlaibs, Chris Rabs, Mela Kiroses. I mean, we're seeing more and more of these amazing Brad Lander,
Yep.
Claire Valdez. They are coming into the fore, and we have real momentum. And so I want you to lean into that. I don't want you to feel hopeless or in some kind of disarray. Be proud of what you've done, of what you've built. And now is the time to double down and accelerate because Dr. King says that those who love peace must organize as effectively as those who love war. We love peace. We need to organize even more effectively. Look at these wins. They are living, breathing examples that organizing works. And if you haven't already become a paid subscriber to Wajahat, please do so. He's a very poor man. He doesn't do this because of the money. He does it because he loves it, but it requires support. So make sure you do support him as well.
And also,
And if you want to
Qasim, how
support
can
me,
people support
yeah,
you?
yeah, same. My Substack has no paywall. You can become a paid subscriber if you want. You can go on and find my PayPal and make a one-time contribution, but no paywall. You get no special treatment for being a paid subscriber. Just a good feeling of
Everything's free,
supporting
guys. Everything.
the dad
All
bod.
the content.
Yeah,
Qasim and I do not believe it really bothers me when people are like, we have an exclusive investigative report, but first become a subscriber. I'm like, bro, like, please just like release this information. Like people want.
yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to judge, even though I was a little bit judgy there. We deliberately, intentionally keep everything for free. There's no paywall. So if you can become a paid subscriber, if you can't, just subscribe. Thank you all. I'm gonna go try to work out to stay fat. Wish me luck. I had a fantastic conversation with Corbin Trent earlier today, Francesca
Great
Fiorentini,
dude.
Qasim
Yep.
Rashid. Thank you all for watching. Be kind, be informed. And please, oh please, don't be an Islamophobe or a
Peace.
fascist. Peace.